Today, we're going to talk about retirement planning from an ancient wisdom perspective. I'm going to read an ancient story. I don't even know the origins of it or when it was told, but I'm going to read this parable called The Cracked Pot, and I'm going to relate it to retirement planning for you, the listener. So here's how the story goes. An elderly woman completed a daily trek to the stream past her home and back to supply her family with fresh water. In order to do this, she fashioned a heavy pot on each end of a long pole which she carried across her shoulders. One of the pots was in perfect condition and always delivered a full portion of water. The other pot, however, had a deep crack in it, causing water to leak out. At the end of the long walk, the cracked pot arrived only half full. The situation occurred daily for 2 years, with the woman bringing home only 1.5 pots of water. Of course, the perfect pot was proud of its accomplishments, but the cracked pot was ashamed of its imperfection and miserable that it could only do half of what it had been made to do. After 2 years of what it had perceived to be a bitter failure, the cracked pot finally spoke to the woman by the stream. I am ashamed, it said. The crack in my side causes water to leak out. You work so hard, yet you have little water once you return home. The old woman smiled and replied, Did you notice that there are flowers on your side of the path? I've always known about your flaw, so I planted flower seeds on your side of the path. Every day while we walked back home, you watered those seeds and helped them to grow. For 2 years, I have been able to pick these beautiful flowers to decorate the table and give to neighbors. Without you being just the way you are, there would not have been this special beauty to grace our homes and our lives. And that is the cracked pot parable. Speaking of crackpots, let me bring in my co-host, Tony Shore. Welcome to the show, Tony. The cracked pot parable. I'm going to ask you, have you heard that before?
Yes, about 6.5, 7 years ago. In fact, I heard that very story from your very lips. You told that story, and it's a good one. I love that story and the analogy and the meaning behind it. I'm glad we're talking about this. Ancient wisdom, you're calling this. I love it. I don't know how ancient it is coming from you, but it's been passed down. You didn't come up with that story yourself.
Well, you just said 6.5 years ago. You're right. We did it on the radio show before we were on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing it back for the new viewers on YouTube. So, Tony, I asked you 6.5 years ago, and I'm going to ask you again. What do you think the main takeaway from that parable is? What's the lesson?
There are a couple of lessons.
See, now you're thinking. You're like, what did I say 6.5 years ago?
Yeah, I am.
I'll bring it up.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Well, I think that you have to look at what you have, and we can all be useful in our own way, even if you think you're not. That's a good lesson from this story.
That's it.
But there are many lessons. What do you think it's about? What are you going to? What's the lesson you want to teach our listeners from that story?
Well, obviously, my listeners and the viewers, you watching this, are thinking about retirement because that's what we do on this show, retirement. So I want to bring it to retirement planning. Of course, it's about everyone's got flaws and it makes the world beautiful, right? But we're not talking about that. That's too easy. We're going to try and make this into a retirement parable. And I'm going to take the analogy of the cracked pots and the water and the old woman walking and change them into retirement planning. So let's start by saying that the water is her salary or your salary, listener.
Sure. Yeah.
You go to work every day carrying the water, right? And you bring home that salary back home where you, in theory, I'm assuming this woman in the story spends all of her salary, drinks all the water, and there's nothing left, which is why she has to go back every day.
Yeah.
Right.
And she's losing water to taxes.
Yes, there are leaks, and the leaks are expenses. You might call them
She's
taxes.
not getting all the water back home, so she has to go back
right.
more often.
And is it taxes? Is it lattes? Is it kids' soccer fees? Is it Starbucks? Is it LP's vinyl?
Oh,
with no S. Um, okay, so that's the analogy so far. Then we have seeds. So she planted the seeds on the side with the leak,
mhm.
right? Those seeds, for our intents and purposes, are a plan or some sort of savings vehicle. And the flowers that grow from that are the future harvest or retirement income. So
Ah,
hear me out now, Tony.
okay.
She's walking with
I
her
missed that
salary.
part of the analogy, yeah.
Of course. She's walking with her salary. Some of it's leaking out. Where is it going? The cracked pot thought it was just going in the dirt, gone. And that's what a lot of people do. It's gone. You
Yeah.
have money coming out, spending, doing things, gone. You have to go back and get more. And you repeat, repeat, repeat. But the woman was smart and she had a plan, planted the seeds and said, oh, I'm going to put a little 401k over here. I'm going to put some savings account over here. And then the leak was filling those, uh, watering those, which would grow into something that she can harvest
The
later.
water
Delayed
leaking was
gratification.
actually being utilized for the future.
Correct.
Yes.
In my thought, in my analogy, and how I'm telling people, the lesson that they could be taking away is if you are just walking and having leaks, a lot of people, everyone's got leaks.
Oh, sure.
Everyone's
Yeah.
got leaks in their plan.
Yeah.
And whether it's taxes or whether it's just you spending on things you don't need
Yeah.
or just not saving, we all have leaks. And if you don't plan for what you want those leaks to do, then they will just be leaks
Yeah.
and they will go into the dirt and they will go away, not
Yeah.
never to be seen again.
Yeah, and you can either plan to minimize those leaks by working with a financial services professional like yourself and minimize that tax burden so you keep more of the water, or utilize that water that's leaking out for the future and make sure it's being used properly and not just
Correct.
poof going into the general fund and disappearing on things like that you don't need, right?
Right. And a lot of people say, well, I'll just get a new pot. I don't want cracks in my pot. I want to bring it all home.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's not realistic. We all have leaks, weaknesses, things we spend on, luxuries, or things that aren't delayed gratification.
Sure.
So rather than say, I'm perfect, I'm a perfect pot, and I have only perfect pots, and everything I bring back, instead of just having it go on the path home, when I get home, I'm going to water the plants in my house, and I'm going to have my own little seed and garden inside. That's fine too. But realistically, down to earth, everyone's got little leaks. And
Yeah.
if you focus on trying to be perfect, you're never going to win. But if you say, you know what, I get it. But if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to have money coming out, why don't I take some time to think about being smart about where that money can go for the future so I can grow the flowers? Or maybe you grow broccoli and or avocado would be a good one because that's a nutritious. You got everything you need is in an avocado, right? You
Yeah.
can live off of avocados.
I've heard
Not
that.
everyone likes that, right? Right.
Right.
I'm not recommending that
No.
you only eat avocado, but if you had to only grow one plant, so
Might be a good one. Yeah.
interestingly enough, Tony, our government forces us, most of us, to plant flowers in the form
Hmm.
of the beautiful, colorful, rapidly growing evergreen plant known as Social Security,
Ah, okay. That's
right?
where you're
We're
going there.
constantly we're constantly dripping 6% or so out of our paycheck, and it's watering Social Security. The company matches that. So for self-employed people, 30, 15%, whatever it is coming out and watering that Social Security, which will be harvested later. There's your broccoli. It'll feed you. You may not like it, but at least it's there, right?
Sure. Wow.
So, yeah, ancient wisdom, Tony. What do you think?
I
We
like
did
it.
a lot of different parables in the past. I might bring them all back. It's parable season.
Yeah, this reminded me. I had forgotten all about those shows. It's been a long time since you've done the parable shows, and this is a good one. You had a couple others. You liked the parables, and I think they work perfectly for this, Dan. And this is a really good one. The cracked pot analogy is perfect for a perfect illustration. I like the other, it's a great little story because it's like, hey, even the cracked pot is useful, and she made it work and use that
Yes.
water to plan for the future. So great.
Right.
Good analogy. And I know this is what you help people do. You can look at the water and where it's going currently and say, okay, here's where it can be utilized to secure your financial future. I mean, that's the
Right.
bottom line, right? And so for
Right.
our listeners and viewers out there, how can they get a plan in place or get a second opinion from you?
And I want, and I'm going to put my number up and all my contact information in it in a minute. But I want to remind people that this was a 2-year story, right? Took 2 years for that pot to say, hey, but the woman was thinking ahead. So if you're like, oh, I'm 55, I want to retire at 60. Now is the perfect time to identify those leaks and start planting the seeds. When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago, Tony. When's the next best time?
Today.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you know what's time for, Tony?
What's the time?
Time for the key takeaway.
Our faces at the end of that. That is my favorite. Once again, Dan taking advantage of Tony. That's just all that illustrates right there. Yeah.
So the key takeaway, Tony, if you plan correctly, your financial leaks can become fuel for your retirement. But if you ignore it, put your head in the sand, you're unaware. Maybe you're just unaware of those leaks. They will force you to carry water indefinitely. And no one wants to carry water indefinitely. No one wants to work forever.
Right.
So figure it out. Be proactive. If you want my help, give me a call, 888-508-5935, or go to dolphinfinancialgroup.com. I'll sit down with you, figure out where your leaks are. I'll be neutral. I don't have any skin in the game. I'll tell you where your leaks are. I'll give you some seeds, some ideas, and we'll work together to plant it. And so you have a nice harvest, and then you could stop carrying that water. Because after all, that is the goal.
Yeah.
To stop carrying water.
Yeah. Sounds like a good goal to me.
Yes. Thanks for another great show, Tony. We'll catch everyone next week.
All matters discussed in today's show are for informational purposes only.
This show is not investment advice.
Dan Riddle nor Dolphin Financial Group are affiliated or endorsed by any government agency.
Investment advisory services are offered through Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor in the state of Florida.
Insurance products and services are offered through Dolphin Insurance, Inc.
Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc. and Dolphin Insurance, Inc. are affiliated companies doing businesses as Dolphin Financial Group.
You should talk to someone at Dolphin Financial Group before implementing any of these strategies or ideas.